Good evening all, and welcome to Silverstone, home of the British Grand Prix and also home of the GPVWC Supercup tonight with myself, Nick Rowland, and the recovering Phil Cullen. Good evening to you, Phil.
Nick, nice to be back in the commentary booth with you again after what seems like a long time.
Yeah, I think it's been quite a while for both of us, but we're both back and we're both ready to go for the British Grand Prix, which is looking to be a great one, shaping up already with qualifying. And this great version of the track being designed by Water Designs, also known as Sean Stroud, but a beautiful version created. Not long left of warm-up, and we will be getting straight into the race. But Phil, I believe there's been a few changes.
Indeed, there has been. We've a number of changes tonight. Probably the biggest ones coming at the Intervision team, which the regulars Pavel Lugnosky and Scott Bennett are both not here tonight. They're replaced by Super League refugee Tom Parker and debutant Mikko Sukas. I hope I got his name right there. We've also going down the field. Morten Verneson is sitting out this race for Vod Bull after having internet difficulties. He's replaced by Doive Tapper. Tapper has actually won the Formula Challenge race here last night, but did not step into the Supercup car until free practice here tonight. So it's a case of having to climb up quite a big mountain there for Tapper. Also, we have under debuts in Tudor Pangev for PB Racing, and we also have Connor Keane, a fellow Irishman, going to be with FA Racing for today. So we've 23 cars out of a potential 26. A few cars here missing tonight, but it'll be interesting to see now how these new guys take to racing in the Super Cup here tonight.
Absolutely, like we said, we're a little bit behind in terms of where me and Philip have been. We've not been around for a while, but in terms of the overall standings, it's still Ryan Walker that leads the way. He's on 148 points. Remember, he's yet to take a race win, but the consistency is really paying off for the satellite driver at the moment, and he's still leading the way. The other guys behind are starting to catch up. It's only 17 points back to Oscar Hardwick now, and Pavel Lotnovsky's on 47. Giuseppe Ranieri, who won back in Turkey, he's now on 83 points. And Sindre Grimseth is on 82 points. So that midfield is starting to get slightly bunched up. But Ranieri's looking to take points off Hardwick. And while those two battle, Walker is still consistently banging in the results and just stretching, or trying to stretch a lead. But Hardwick's reeling him in even more. So at this point, at round 10 here, Phil, do you think Ryan Walker can do it?
Well, I think we said, and I said it to both yourself and also to James as well, when I was a commentator with him, what Ryan has to start doing is winning. I mean, he was helped quite a bit back in Monaco when Oscar actually had his retirement, but he's either banking on Oscar having a bad run of luck or he's going to have to start finishing ahead of him. Now, you'll have to see how Oscar actually does tonight, because I believe he was actually on holidays up until a couple of days ago, so we'll have to see if he's had the same sort of practice time as he would have had for other rounds, although it didn't hurt him in qualifying if the man took pole position.
Yeah, Oscar Hardwick and Giuseppe Ranieri were split by just 0.2 of a second. And it was, in fact, Ranieri had all that time made up and lost it in the final sector. He lost the 0.2. Otherwise, it would have taken pole. But it's Oscar Hardwick for CSG that has taken pole here. And I'll give you a run through momentarily. So, the pole man is Oscar Hardwick. And on second place, it's Giuseppe Ranieri. Them two once again locking out the front row. Third place man is Ryan Walker. He's in the satellite racing. One of the new drivers now next is Mikko Sukas. He's driving for the Intervision team. Sindre Grimseth for Targa Racing. He's in 5th position. Patrick Gatewood, he is in 6th. Tom Parker on his return. He's in the Intervision car. He is in 7th position. The new driver, the FC promotee, if you like, Due Tapper, he is in 8th position. And I tell you what, Due only drove this car in free practice. That was the first time that he has driven the Supercup car, and he's put it on 8th. That is a tremendous effort from the driver. Big congratulations to him and the team. Roy Schroeder in the second CSG car, he's in 9th with Tudor Pangev. He is in 10th place with Dan Rusu in 11th, and Mark Wicks, he is in 12th. And Phil, I'll let you round out the rest of the field.
Yes, well, we have Inigo de Cognac in 13th with Calvin Herms for PBD Motorsport in 14th, and Mahan Bulgan in the second Scuderia Bazelia car in 15th. Then the back half of the grid is taken up with Andres Pestovs in 16th and Andreas Waters in 17th. Tommy Koivunen is in 18th with John McLean in 19th for Fox Racing. 20th is David Nichols and 21st is Connor Keane, the debutant, and he's actually the only man on the yellow Mark tyres, obviously if you're new to it here, but just to run through it, is that we run with the two different compounds, very similar to Formula 1 these days, where we have the red Mark tyre and the yellow Mark tyre. The red Mark tyre is the faster, softer compound, which obviously will be quicker but will wear at a faster rate of knots, but then the yellow tyre is regarded as a slower tyre but will generally last longer. Providing it doesn't rain and they don't have to go onto wet weather tyres, all drivers have to use both compounds of tyres. So we'll have to see. Obviously everyone else has gone with the red Mark tyres up front. We'll have to see obviously how this plays out. Some people have been saying that this could be a two-stop strategy race, so we'll have to see what way the tyres will come into play and whether anyone tries to get off balance with anyone else to try and get one up over them.
I think ideally a lot of drivers would like to push for a one-stop, but I think due to the nature of the high-speed circuit, it's more likely going to be a two. And even with high toe, where some drivers may even look for three, I doubt that will happen. But you never know. The one thing that there is a fairly strong chance of is rain. Obviously, being in Great Britain, maritime climate, there is a very, very high chance it is going to rain around this circuit. And there's also already some pretty menacing clouds above, where Oscar Hardwick is returning to his grid slot on pole position. So that is one thing we're going to watch out for, is the very, very high chance and potential of rain. All these drivers, most of these drivers are on the option compound, the red mark tyres. It's only the man at the back of the field that is on the yellow stripe tyres. Now, if it rains, these red option tyres are the tyres you want to be on, due to the fact they give off more grip. But nevertheless, we are preparing for 34 laps. This is the British Grand Prix. We've got 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are go at Silverstone. A good start jumps there for Oscar Hardwick, but side by side goes Giuseppe Ranieri. And to the inside, can he get on the inside in turn 1? Yes, he can. Hardwick's going to try and hold it there, but he can't. Ranieri takes the lead. Oscar Hardwick slots into second place for CSG. And Ryan Walker, big lock-up behind Hardwick. And new man, Mikko Suakas, has slotted into third position. Walker's down to fourth. Gatewood's held fifth. Schroten is sixth under heavy fire from the innovation of Tom Parker in seventh place, who's had a good start. Grims's gone backwards a bit. Tapper's stayed in ninth position. But Ranieri is the man at the front that is trying to scamper away straight away after the electric start going through turn 1, and made sure he held that inside line and pushed Hardwick wide enough that he was able to stay around the loop section.
Yeah, very clean start by everybody. Doesn't look like anybody's actually nursing any kind of broken wings or anything. Oh, as Tudor Pandev is actually after having a massive accident there. I see him after being flipped up and over the barrier. It's a very strange one, just coming out of heading onto the old pitch straight. Just seemed to spear into the barrier and got flipped over the barrier. So that's our first retirement of the night, and it's very strange for a south spin, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Absolutely it is. So out in front, it's Giuseppe Ranieri, 6 tenths in front of Oscar Hardwick. Mikko Suakas, he's in third place. Ryan Walker is closing in on him though. Patrick Gatewood's dropped off, and I think that was a bit of side-by-side action there between Schroten and Parker, but he backed out of it. So Schroten's closing back in on Patrick Gatewood, coming down into Vale before Club. And it's getting very, very close between these midfield drivers. Tapper there in 8th position. DeConnick's up to 9th. Mark Wicks has gone from 12th to 10th. That's a good run for him at the start of the race here. Koivu in 11th. And it's Bolgin, who is Ranieri's teammate, in 12th position. They're very close to that midfield section once again. Hardwick has stayed at around 7 tenths from Ranieri. Closed a little bit as Ranieri went wide, just coming out of the arena section as they go on to Aintree before the Wellington Straight. Ryan Walker, though, looks to be the man on the move behind Mikko Suakis, coming towards Brooklands. He dives through on Brooklands. No, he can't get it done there, though. Holds a very, very tight line. And it's going to be Suakis that gets the line for Luffield before Woodcut. And he does still have that line. But look at the drive Walker got up for there. That's a beautiful line. Now, can he hold it all the way through Woodcut corner going towards Cops? He'll try his absolute best. And he has got it already. Will he be able to jink left? No. But to the inside goes Ryan Walker. He's back up into third place after losing that position at the start of the race.
Very brave move, especially when you're racing someone that you actually don't really know. We'll have to see now as Mikko Suakas can see if he can come back through these series of corners, maybe onto the hanger straight, might have a goal. But Walker looks to have built up enough of a gap there to get away. But it's brave going into Cops on an overtaking move and you don't really know the guy. So brave stuff. And actually just a bit of an update. Grimset says first lap went to a right mare. He actually was after being in the pits. Obviously picked up some serious damage there, and he's already nearly a lap behind now.
Oh, big shame for Sindre Grimseth and Target Racing there. So Ranieri and Hardwick are the guys out front. Those 6 splits them. But they've already pulled 4 seconds on the rest of the field. So while those two behind Walker and Swakas were battling, it's allowed them to create a 4-second buffer. And a 37.8 for the pair of the drivers as well. They're both lacking almost identically. 0.02 of a second split them on that last lap. Incredible.
Oh, just to cut in there, Tapper making a nice move there on Roy Schreiten and Roy having to try and fight back as they head through the first series of corners. But Tapper got a great run on the home straight there and made it work, and he's after getting past Roy there in 8th. So Tapper already moving up the field, and like you said, this lad's only about an hour in the car, and he's in 7th. That makes you wonder what he's going to do when he's got more time in the car.
An hour in the car, and he's in 7th, and he's chasing down the experienced driver Tom Parker in that Innovision car, and he's got the Multiforce just in front of him, Patrick Gatewood also. So Akas is not that far down the road, and Walker's trying to pull that buffer. It's out to a second, but Hardwick and Ranieri are the men on a mission at the moment. Hardwick ran wide there going through Copse Corner. Got to go a little bit careful doing that. But nevertheless, it's Ranieri, the man that's on the charge. And Hardwick, he's actually fallen back a little bit now. It's gone out to 7 tenths. So Ranieri pulled a couple more tenths through that mid-sector. Seems that the straight line advantage goes to Hardwick though, because he's starting to gain as it goes down the hanger straight up towards Stowe. And a very, very wide entry there through Stowe Corner for Giuseppe Ranieri, and he's lost all that time he's gained. It's down to 4 tenths. So Ranieri is starting to feel that pressure from Oscar Hardwick at the moment, and that CSG racing car is getting closer.
Yeah, and even looking back in the field, Patrick Gatewood is now feeling Tom Parker right up his rear right now. Tom had a bit of a look coming down hanger straight, wasn't quite able to make the right move, but he's clinging to him, and even behind them, Roy's actually gotten back ahead of Tapper there in the final few corners. So Tapper has it all to do again now, heading through the first section of the corners, and Roy defends his line well. Tapper's going to see if he can go around the outside. No, can't make it work. Roy's got himself covered, learned from the first time. We'll have to see if Tapper can get quite a bit of a run on the exit. It looks like it's got a lot more traction than Roy right there now. And as they head down the Wellington straight, he's going to have a chance to have a good look at him there.
Yeah, Tapper made a slight mistake going through Vale, I believe, and that's what gave Schroten the position back. But Schroten's defended quite well up to this point. He's still trying to hold on. Wow, is Tapper going to go around the outside of Luffield there? I hope not, because that was going to be a hell of a move. But now has he got the run coming through Woodcut up towards Copse Corner?
That's way too wide.
He went very, very wide there. Tapper got that a little bit wrong. So he's still behind Schroten, but he's getting ever closer. Oh, great run through Copse Corner there. Yeah, can he get him before Maggots and Beckett's? And it looks like he can. He's gone around the outside. Oh, and Schroten's going to come back at him, but no, into Beckett's he's got it. And into Chappell, he'll get the cleaner line off out of Chappell as well. So Tapper goes back up into 7th place. Parker, there we go. This is over 5th and 6th. Parker on Gatewood going up towards Stowe Corner. Can he brake later? He does brake later. The Innovision car goes up into 5th place. Awesome job from Tom Parker there. Patrick Gatewood in the Multiforce goes down to 6th. So now it's Parker and his teammate in front of him, Suakis, is in 4th. So it's going to be a battle between those two. And there's only 1.6 seconds separating them. Out at the front, it's nearly a second advantage for Ranieri. He's starting to pull away. A 37.7 from Ranieri. 10th faster than Hardwick. But it's been enough because he's starting to pull away from Oscar Hardwick.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see now how this one's going to play out now. Obviously, it's a long way to go. We're only 4 laps into this race, but Ryan is holding in there. At least he's only 5.7 now. I know we talked a few laps ago, about 4 seconds back, but he himself has pulled out the better part of 1.5 seconds over Sukas. So I'm sure the likes of Parker and Tapper, even I suppose with the pace he's shown so far, will be looking to try and break out at and try and see if they can catch up there with them to have any hope of a podium.
Yeah, Walker's sitting in that podium position currently and doing wonders for his championship. But I think the more concerning thing for him that currently he's running it 9 tenths a lap slower than Ranieri and Hardwick. He's 9 tenths off, especially on that last lap. In fact, he was 9 tenths off what he needs to be getting close to these guys out in front. They're extracting absolutely everything out of these cars of Ranieri and Hardwick. And Walker currently can't really match them, and he's got to start looking over his shoulder sometime soon because they are coming up in the championship. Hardwick is only 17 points behind now. He's getting ever closer, and we've already seen Ranieri take a win in Turkey, and he's leading the race at the moment.
Yeah, well, I think even for Ryan's situation, at least for him, Ranieri's in front. Hardwick is obviously the bigger threat at the moment, and the last thing he needs is, at least if he's finishing behind Hardwick, he's limiting some of the damage anyway. Obviously, as I said at the start of the race, he needs to start finishing ahead of them to actually really start doing his championship challenge, what really needs to be done. But it's the best of a worst case scenario right now, is Rennie has a little bit of lock-up heading up there. It's going to give Hardwick a bit of hope.
Yeah, Walker actually just improved his time. It's down to 7/10 now in terms of outright lap speed and pace at the moment for Ryan Walker. So 7/10 is the difference, and it's enough to pull away from Suakis. That's working nicely. Tom Parker, he's actually fallen off slightly. He's lost 4/10 to Suakis, his teammate. He's down to 2 seconds behind now, and Gatewood has fallen to 7/10 behind him. Tapper has started to close also now. 2.1 is the gap between Gatewood and Tapper. So Tapper is starting to close. His fast lap's to 38.7, which is faster than these guys in front as well, because Gatewood's on a 39.4, 39.0 for Parker, and 39.0 also for Suakas. So Tapper, of these drivers currently, the three in front of him, is the faster man. So Tapper on his debut, and after being in the car for not more than an hour, he's starting to close on these season regulars already.
Indeed, we actually have a nice little battle going for 12th position right now. Right now, Tommy Coyven holds position from David Nichols and John McLean, but they had Nico DeConnick involved, but Nico spun there at the end of the Wellington straight after getting to the back of Nichols, I think. But there's a great little three-car spar there for the final few points right now.
And another fastest lap of the race there for Giuseppe Ranieri. He's on a 1:37.6. It was a 37.9 in fact for Oscar Harwick on that last lap. So that's a couple of more tenths advantage. 1.2 is now the gap. Which I've just noticed just one or two dark clouds emerging. Nothing major though yet. There's still some blue sky at the end of the track, up towards Stowe Corner. But around this inner loop section here, along the Wellington Straight, there's some darker clouds, but no sign of rain currently. Ambient temperature is 20 degrees. Track temperature is 27 degrees. So it's nice and warm for those tyres out there. Not too warm that they're absolutely destroying them, but warm enough that they're going to feel a bit pretty much like glue, I would have thought.
Indeed, I think after some of the race we've had with the tyres, I think the drivers should be glad to have what would be regarded as somewhat optimum temperatures, at least temperatures that the tyres are going to be liking, and at least them get down to the simple case of just driving the car and just enjoying the moment. I mean, this is one of those tracks that you really do just enjoy. You could go out there in any car and just throw it around, and the sequence of corners that you get at a track like Silverstone is it's pretty rare these days when you look at some of the newer tracks that are being developed these days.
Yeah, absolutely. We are just over, well, we're on the 7th lap at the moment, and Ranieri is stretching his lead out to 1.5 seconds. But the gap now back to the drivers behind. Ryan Walker is 7.2 behind. Suakas is 3.1 further back from Walker. Parker is down to 1.7 behind Suakas, so he's bought some time back at his teammate. Gatewood is 1.2 seconds behind Parker. And Tapper's getting closer. It's 1.2 seconds, and he's the man on the move at the moment. Tapper's really charging. Schroten is the man in 8th. He's on a 1:39.5 and 4.1 seconds behind Tapper. Mark Wixie is down in 9th, with Campbell Hermsay in 10th position and having a good run at the moment. The gaps in the field, Martin Bolgin and then Koivunen is split by 7 seconds. Dave Nichols is not too far behind Koivunen, only 7/10 of a second. Andreas Waters in 14th. John McLean, he is in 15th. Dan Russo is 16th. Connor Keane, the debutant also. He's on the alternate tyre at the moment as well. He's on the prime compound and he's down in 17th.
Yeah, I suppose the gap that he's back is not going to make. He's not going to make a strategic game changer there. But if it's for his first race, at least he's kind of getting some valuable experience out here in the Supercup. It's not. I know you probably look at Tapper and look at how well he's adjusted to jumping into it, but it's not always that easy to be able to jump. As we have actually a crash for P12, we've David Nichols. We were commenting earlier on that Coyven and Nichols were among two guys getting very close, but. Yeah, it looks like heading into the loop, and Nichols was recovering, and that wasn't really good, David. It looked like he was rejoining and made a right cock up of it, but it looks like he was trying to give this back there, so fair play to him for that.
Yeah, and here we go. This looks like we're going to be game on for 6th place at the moment as well, because Tapper has closed right in on Gatewood in that multi-force, going through Stowe Corner at the moment, up towards Vale. before club corner, the final corner on this new Silverstone layout. He's got close to him. I just don't think he's quite in that toe yet to be able to make a move. Gatewood is now 2.1 seconds behind Parker, so he has fallen backwards slightly towards the clutches of where Tapper is. And Tapper closing on what potentially could be 6th position. He's got a better run than Gatewood going through turn 1 of Abbey as well. Was faster through Farm, coming down into the village in the loop section. He's got close to him again, but he just can't quite get right up behind that rear wing. And Gatewood got a nice drive there. Very nice drive, in fact. Coming out of the loop through Aintree and down the Wellington Straight. And that stretched out to 7/10. So he lives to fight for another day, but Tapper is getting closer. What's Tom Parker doing? He's 1.5 seconds behind Suaka, so he's getting closer as well. Ryan Walker, 3rd place man, 8.5 seconds behind Hardwick. 2.2 seconds splits the race leaders now, so Ranieri's pulled out even more time. A man on the mission. The Italian is absolutely gunning it at the moment. And it's from Oscar Hardwick, who's 2.2 seconds behind. It's just in a case now of when these guys decide to make a pit stop. But Ryan Walker, he's in 3rd place and the championship leader. 8.8 seconds behind. Let's see if he can actually start to close that gap. His times have been improving, but they're just not as good as what Ranieri and Hardwick are able to achieve at this moment in time.
Yeah, it's nearly a shame to see Renier running out front. Usually when we get to see him coming through the pack, he's the man we can bank on for some exciting moves, but we're just going to have to settle for him to doing some exciting lap times right now. But yeah, everyone seems to have rather spaced out quite a bit, as we can probably looking back there at the Tapper Gatewood battle. I mean, the big difference there, I think, between what we saw with Tapper versus Shorten is that he just doesn't seem to have. Roy seemed to be struggling anyway with traction coming out of corners, which allowed Tapper just to really get in there and get the overtake maneuver. Gatewood is obviously not struggling in the same degree as that. Gatewood runs a little bit wide going into the inner loop there, but smoking up his tyres, so that's some encouragement there for Tapper. Alright, I'm sure Tapper is thinking, yep, put this lad under pressure now and a few more laps, but as we can see, he's not really making the same sort of inroads, and even now, the gap seems to have stabilised quite a bit. I think even between himself, Parker and Gatewood, they all seem to be running in or around the same sort of laps, so it's going to be very hard for any of them to really try and make some sort of headway unless the guy ahead makes a mistake.
Yeah, and the track temperature and the ambient temperature dropped by 1 degree, so the guys that are on these probably heavily worn now option tyres will probably be relieved a little bit, because it should take a slight edge out of the tyre, and hopefully they'll be able to start building that gap back up. So it's 2.4 seconds now to split Ranieri and Hardwick. Ryan Walker sits comfortably in that 3rd spot. Suakas is falling to 3.8 seconds behind. Parker, he's just dropped back ever so slightly again. It's out to 2 seconds. But there we go. This is game on between Tapper and Gatewood. Gatewood is going to defend up towards Stowe Corner. Tapper's going to go towards the outside. Can he drive around the outside of Stowe Corner? He's trying. Oh, what a move there for Tapper. Superb. Absolutely wonderful move around the outside of Stowe there. But Gatewood's coming back at him. Can he get the job done? No, he can't. Tapper, in his first ever race in SC, has just gone round the outside of Patrick Gatewood. What a move that was.
That takes commitment, and like you said, for a guy who actually hasn't driven this car, to be able to trust in the car that you could hang it out there with the tyres the way they are, yeah, that takes a lot of commitment, a lot of balls, and obviously even a lot of trust on Gatewood's point of view that, again, he hasn't raced Tapper before, and now he's had to trust him going around the outside and, to give him the racing room, so fair play to Patrick Gatewood there. As we have the first of the pitters there, see Mark Wicks after making his pit stop, and he's coming out on the yellow Mark tyres now, so he's probably going to see the rest of the guys starting to follow suit now in the next few laps.
Well, that was an absolutely majestic move there from Tapper. What a move that was. And while that was going on, actually, Tom Parker made a slight mistake going through Abbey, I believe. He ran wide going through Farm, and it's dropped him back to 3.6 seconds behind his teammate, but 1.4 seconds behind his Tapper. Tapper is closing in on Tom Parker, and he's got a much, much better run going through Cop's corner there before going into Max and Beckett's. His car works so well in high-speed corners. Oh, look at the gain he's got. It's down to 4/10. Parker ran wide. Is he going to do the same again? Parker went very, very deep in Chapel. Can he get close enough going on the hanger straight up towards Stowe Corner? I don't think he can, as Giuseppe Ranieri is into pit lane, and so is Oscar Hardwick. Walker's carried on. Tapper couldn't get close enough.
Parker's going to pit.
Dives in. That's released Tapper. He will now carry on. Ranieri and Hardwick are in pit lane at the moment. Ranieri's away. Pestov's is also pitted. He's in front, but obviously out of position. And
Hardwick's going on the yellow tyres. Hardwick's going out on the yellow tyres there, so we have
Ranieri stayed on the options. Hardwick's come out on primes, and the gap's still at 2.2 seconds. Oh, Hardwick's come out right behind Gatewood and Tapper, but Ranieri's cleared them. And he's now cleared Pestov's as well. That's absolutely ideal for him. Suakas is the next man. He's got to pit fairly soon. That's advantage to Giuseppe Ranieri with clear air. And Hardwick's now on the prime tyre, slower tyre, and he's behind Gatewood, Tapper and Pestov's, who's the lapped car.
It's very important for Ranieri. Actually, Ranieri came out nearly side by side with Pestov's there, so it was vital for him. And even now, you kind of look there at how far back to Hardwick. Hardwick is basically mired back there. So we'll have to see how it plays out strategy-wise, but that was...
He's way out. 4.9 seconds that he's now behind. They could dispatch Pestov's, but Gatewood and Tapper are still in front of him. That's not working out. Ranieri's closing on Suakas, but Suakas needs to pit yet.
This is pretty much a disaster for Hardwick now, and be interesting to see now if he's now fueled to the end. Obviously, he's done his 2 different stints. We definitely know Ranieri's going to be stopping a second time anyway. Obviously, we were expecting people to do 2, and you said maybe even 3, but obviously, we might be looking at Hardwick, might want to be looking to see what kind of strategy change, because I think that's what he's...
Suakas was released because Ranieri's gone through. Suakas is pitted. Tapper and Gatewood both pit together. That's released Hardwick. Now we can see the true gap between those drivers once it all shakes out. Suakas is in. Ryan Walker's carried on. So he's making these option compounds work very nicely at the moment. He's gone 2 laps longer than the race leaders have done. So the outright gap between Ranieri and Hardwick, it's 5 seconds between them now. This is where Ranieri has to really punch in these fast laps. And Hardwick's got to try and close as much as he can on the prime compound. Ryan Walker 5.7 seconds in front of Ranieri, and Walker needs to pit.
Yeah, I was going to say, and Gatewood beats Tapper out of pits, and they both come out just as Tom Parker slides by. So Tom has actually lost time on his outlap, and Tapper's lost the position, but the 3 of them are now nicely bunched up together now in what will be the battle for, actually what is the battle for 5th position really right now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happened there to Tom on his outlap, but he's got both Gatewood and Tapper. The only thing to his advantage is that Tapper is now stuck back behind Gatewood and will have to probably pull out yet another fancy move. But actually looking at them on tyre strategies, Tapper's gone out on the yellow primes, Gatewood is still on the faster red options, and so is Tom Parker. So it'll be interesting to see whether Tapper can actually make the same sort of headway on a different compound tyre compared to the 2 lads ahead of him, as he runs wide through cops. Just about saves. It's got to be safe going out there, especially with those razor sharp curbs.
Race leader and championship leader Ryan Walker dives into the pit lane, so he's gone 2 laps longer than what Ranieri and Hardwick have done. These guys are on split strategies now also. Tapper's on that split strategy from Gatewood and Parker. Let's see if he can actually maintain it and keep on the back of these guys. It's a case of now, where does Ryan Walker come out? He's switched, so he's gone option to prime. He's on the prime tyre. Nico DeConnick's just in front of him. He'll be the lap car. Now, where's Suakas? He is coming through Vale, and he's going through Club Corner right now. Walker is coming out of the exit of pit lane, and he is behind Pestos and DeConnick, but they will obviously lap drivers. Suakas has gone through, and it's 4.8 seconds the gap between Walker and Suakas.
Yeah, we should get rid of the tyre warmer so we have the outlaps like last year. They really made it for some interesting times.
But they're looking pretty menacing there, Phil. Look at that. They've really darkened.
Yeah, well, we have to be careful about this. This happened now yesterday, actually. It did rather go from grey clouds to sunny blue skies. It was a real British weather kind of race, even though the fact the rain didn't fall. So, obviously, we'll have to temper our excitement about weather depending on what those clouds do. But, obviously, most drivers will have half an eyelid on the skies above, especially as this race progresses and as we go deeper into the race.
Yep, that's true, and Ranieri is the man at the moment. He's pulling away from Hardwick. Obviously, that split strategy, so Oscar Hardwick will come back at him in the final part of the race. He's gone option has Ranieri. Hardwick has gone option prime, so he's currently on the yellow banded tyres. The gap is increasing, but it will get smaller once he makes these two both make their pit stops again. Ranieri will have to run to the end on the harder compound tyre, the prime compound, whereas Hardwick will be able to sprint at home on the option tyre. So the case is now is how quickly do the option tyres drop off, and where's the crossover point where the primes actually come into play?
Well, just looking actually at Tapper here, because he did come out right behind Gatewood and Parker, but he has dropped back, and I have noticed he's actually struggling to go through cops, at least in the same manner that we saw him attacking Roy and attacking Patrick earlier on in the race. So that'll probably give us an indication of where he's losing out right now. He's probably not able to attack those high speed corners with the same sort of vigor, and he's got to be careful, because you getting yourself off those curbs, you risk falling off the track quite badly. So obviously we'll have to see how this one plays out for those people who are on the yellow mark tyres. But as I said, right now the advantage is with those who have the red mark tyres, and they've got to make the most of it right now.
They are having to make the most of it, and it looks like they certainly, in Ranieri's case, he's making the most of it. He's coming up behind Dave Nichols there by the looks of it for Satellite Racing. Now that's Ryan Walker's teammate, and Ryan Walker still sits in that third spot. He has 3.4 second advantage over Swakas. That will slowly decrease because Walker is on the prime tyre at the moment, where Swakas is on the option tyre, so he will start to close that gap, but obviously it will roll reverse when they make their second stop. John McLean's had a moment, and a big moment in fact. He's taken off the front left of his car by the looks of it there, going through Maggots Beckett's. Koivunen gets out the way for Swakas.
Yeah, and actually Mark Wicks has come back in for a second pit stop already, so that's we only saw him in the pits about 3 or 4 laps ago, so that's a very strange strategy that Wixie is playing there. He's still 10th though, still well in the points, so kind of gives you an idea of some of the field spread towards the latter stages of the field that he could afford himself a free pit stop. But yeah, it was actually quite a big gap from 8th actually back to 9th. We've the first top 8 and within about half a minute of each other, and then we nearly have a half a minute gap back to the rest of the field, so there's quite a bit of a field spread coming on here tonight.
Yeah, large field spread. It's 23 seconds exactly between Schroten and Herms in 9th position. So Roy Schroten just crossing the line now, and Calvin Hermsley is only just coming into Stoke Corner. So there is quite a large field spread. Schroten's still doing a good job. He's 4.7 seconds behind Tapper. Tapper is obviously on his prime tyres. He hasn't really closed much more on Gatewood. Gatewood has fallen to 1.6 seconds behind Tom Parker. Parker's putting in some good laps at the moment also. He's on 39.5, so his teammate's 39.4. So both Innovision cars currently are running very, very strong as we come to the midpoint of the race.
Yeah, especially when you think about the fact that neither driver is the main driver in the team. We're used to seeing Lognoski and we're used to seeing Bennett out there. So in their absence, these two lads are definitely staking a claim for a regular drive there, if not at Innovision, maybe someplace else. So if I was having a race where I was finishing 4th, I wouldn't exactly be too keen on stepping back into the reserve role after it. So we'll have to see how this one plays out. 4-2 doesn't go.
It certainly doesn't. In terms of how the Constructors' Championship also looks, so Akasa and Parker for Innovision is actually working quite nicely for them, because CSG Racing are currently 2 and 8. So Oscar Hardwick not getting at this stage maximum points in terms of what's required, and obviously Schroten being behind both Innovisions at the moment. So Innovision may pick up a healthy amount of points currently and could potentially close on CSG. That gap is currently 91 points between the teams. Seems a lot, but with 2 drivers in the team, and you never know what can happen in the race, that can come down quite quickly. Behind Innovision, though, interestingly, that's where the gap really, really is tight. It's only 8 points back to Target Racing. A few points then, that's another 5 points then back to Satellite. And then only another, that's 14 back then to Multiforce. So there's quite a tight group between 2nd and 5th in terms of constructors. It's only CSG that have that large gap at the front of 91 points that Innovision and Target will hope to threaten. Target are really struggling here by not fielding a second driver. It's only Sindre Grimseth out there.
Yeah, we've been saying this all season that Lapala, who was starting the season in the car, he was some of our tips for a championship contender. And just he's falling out of it simply because he just hasn't shown up. Obviously, we'll have to find out at some point now what the story is there at the team now, why they haven't had a second driver. I'm sure there's a number of drivers who'd be willing to take on that second seat and have an opportunity, a good crack at a whip. But actually, speaking of cracking at the whip. Ryan Walker's going to need a crack at that rip now soon enough, because he's fallen back into the hands of Sukas. Now they are on different tyres. Ryan is on the yellow mark prime tyre, but he's running in the low 40s right now, while Sukas behind him is his last lap was a 38.9. I'll have to see what he does as he crosses the line, but we can visibly see that he is hauling him in, and there is another lap 39.3 for Sukas that time, and Ryan Walker was a 39.6, so he did arrest that gap just a little bit, but obviously Sukas is taking advantage of the option tyres right now and is hunting Ryan Walker down.
He absolutely is. The problem Walker's got now as well, he's obviously on those prime tyres. It's the slowest compound, but he's also got a couple of back markers. Keane's going to be the first one. He's another debutant to the series. He's just moved out the way. If we're going through Aintree, but Walker had to lift there, so he's probably lost a few more tenths to Sukas there. And he's now coming up towards... It's his teammate, in fact, is the next man, so Dave Nichols. So he should be able to dispatch him fairly quickly. So that will give Sukas a straight battle and a straight fight between the pair. It looks like Sukas has been slightly held up there by Keane, but got it all sorted out. Parker is 3.4 seconds behind, and they are on the same compound tie. Gatewood is the man currently in 6th position, and Tapper's fallen backwards to 2.7, but that's quite a stable gap he's been able to maintain at the moment, obviously being on those prime tyres. So that's working currently for Tapper, as Troughton is the man in 8th.
Yeah, well, if I was Tapper, I'd like his strategy, knowing how attacking he can be at this point. We saw that through the first stint, and if I was him, I'd be delighted to be on the option tyres heading into the final stint, knowing that the two guys ahead of me, or even three if you include Sukas, are going to be on the yellow mark tyres and might struggle. As speaking of Sukas, he's really closing in now on Ryan Walker. I don't think Ryan's teammate did him too many favours there when it came to lapping him. But he's obviously going to be under pressure now in the next few laps, as Sukas is coming up right up his tailpipe.
Yeah, Nichols didn't really help letting Tom Parker by, and I think Parker showed his frustration by flicking straight across the nose of him going through turn 1. So it's pretty evident that Parker wasn't too impressed by that. And Sukas has definitely closed. Sukas is closed to it's bang on a second now between Sukas and Walker. Parker is 2.4 seconds behind Sukas, his teammate, and Gatewood is 3.3 back, and he's still got to negotiate Nico DeConnick and Dave Nichols also. So these guys should start bunching together once they have sorted out their final round of pit stop. There's a bit of a larger field spread currently due to the tyre strategies and how things are panning out, but eventually it will start to squeeze up and we'll have that accordion effect where they all start to come back together, even with the differing compounds and the strategies that they have opted for. Out in front though, it's still Giuseppe Ranieri, 36.3 is his fastest lap. Now he's got some lap traffic, and Dan Russo, he's moved straight out the way. Good job there from Dan Russo. He's moved to the left-hand side prior to Vale, so no issues going through the slow section of Vale and Club. Ranieri is 9 seconds now in front of Oscar Hardwick.
I think Sukas is going to be getting the toe-down hanger straight now. He's going to be right up on Ryan Walker's exhaust. Not going to have an attack this lap, unless he fancies something in the last couple of corners here. Maybe he might have the opportunity to. Ryan Walker seems to be really struggling now. I suppose it's something that's probably exaggerated by the different tyre compounds, but you get the feeling he's going to be a bit of a lame duck right now against Sukas. Sukas just seems to have so much better traction than him right now. It's only a matter of when, not if.
Absolutely. Sukas got a massive slap of oversteer there. I think he tried to be a lot more aggressive into Abbey than Walker was, and Walker was much slower through the apex, and Sukas tried to get out of it and got a massive slap of oversteer. Controlled it very, very well though. And it looks like he may get a run through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. I don't know if he's going to be close enough. He'll certainly get the tow. He's towing up to him. Goes under the Simpson Bridge there. He's getting closer towards Brooklands. Oh, very, very late on the brakes there was Sukas, making sure Walker knew exactly where he was. Sukas did an interesting move there. He dived very late on the brakes and cut it right the way back across before going through Luffield and Woodcote. It's an interesting tactic, and it nearly threw Walker off the scent, but nevertheless, Sukas is getting closer and going towards up towards Copse Corner. As he comes down, they come towards Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel, the infamous corners. Beautiful sweeping corners. They're some of the drivers' favourites, these corners, but they are absolute tyre killer. So going out on the exit of Chapel, this is where Sukas needs to be close. He is close. That's a great run from Chapel. Now, can he get close enough underneath the IP4's bridge? He's getting closer and closer to Walker. Can he go to the inside going up towards Stoke Corner? He has gone to the inside. Can he brake later? He can brake later on those softer tyres. And up the inside goes Sukas. He goes into third place. Great job from the Innovation driver there.
Indeed, nice clean move. Ryan left them lots of room. I don't think Ryan probably fought that. I think he kind of faced the inevitable, really. And even as we can see, Sukas is pulling out already. You know, was it nearly half a second of a gap already in a couple of corners there. I think Ryan probably saw that one coming long enough to know that the more time he spends fighting, the more time he's going to lose. And you know, Parker's only about a second and a half behind, so Ryan has to be careful here now. I mean,
with them battling, it's only 1.2 to back to Parker now.
Yeah, and this is probably going to be his problem. That okay, he'll probably think, right, I'm going to have the Reds for the final stint, while they're going to have to be on the primes. But you still have to make those moves and make them count. And you know, it's going to be it'll be interesting to watch Ryan attack guys like in that kind of shape and manner and form now later on the race. But as we can see, the yellow marked tires. I'm surprised you're not, given how poor they seem to be doing in terms of pace-wise, that people aren't going to be trying to do as little running on them as possible, really.
It would appear that way. 11.4 seconds is the gap between Ranieri and Hardwick, so it's really started to fall away, that gap. And it looks like Ranieri is on a quick lap at the moment as well. He's really nailed that middle sector. Is this going to be the fastest lap of the race? He's coming out the final corner now. Oh, it's not. He lost time there. So he actually lost time in the final sector, but Hardwick has fallen back. It just doesn't look like these guys on the prime side can get on the power. They've just got no faith with the rear grip whatsoever. And like you said, I think this could be down to the fact that there's a slightly lower track temperature, and it's come in favour of the of the option compound tyre, the red marked tyre.
Yeah, well, if I was in that kind of situation, I'd be trying to think about, right, how can I change my strategy? Should I come in a bit early and just try and get back onto the Reds as quick as possible? I mean, that's got to be something going through some of their minds to try and make things work. As we're going back to P11, and Grimstead is going around the just actually heading into Cops. Going to have him well before Cops is actually overtaking Martin Bulgan there. Grimstead's actually having a great recovery drive, considering he was in at the end of the first lap with damage. We didn't see the incident, but it's a great recovery drive from the Norwegian and the sole Target Racing car out here today.
Yeah, it's a great recovery drive, and he's doing a good job, and he's trying to get closer and build his way up through the field. Obviously, Target Racing could fall quite significantly in the team's championship at this point in time. Walker to Parker split by 1.6 seconds, so Parker's not made much more of an impression on Walker yet. They've just negotiated a little bit more traffic, so Parker will try to close once again. Gap out at front, it's 1.8 seconds. Here we go then. Race leader Giuseppe Ranieri has pitted. This will be to move on to the prime tyres. Oscar Hardwick will run for a few laps longer yet, but into pit lane is race leader Giuseppe Ranieri. He does a 36.0, but that's obviously because he's pitted. It's a shorter run to the line, so we can't really take that into consideration. So Ranieri into the box now, and will switch on to those prime compound tyres. These tyres will take him to the end of the race, so he'll do 12 laps on these tyres to get to the end. He's coming out now. Now, where will he feed out? That's the next question. Where will he feed out? Is he in clear air? Oh, that is clear air. Ranieri's fed out right into complete clear air. Now he can do whatever he wants with these tyres. And the gap to Oscar Hardwick is 6 seconds. So it's 6 seconds the difference between Hardwick and Ranieri. And Ranieri is on those prime tyres after making his final stop. It's a case of now, when does Oscar Hardwick pit?
Yeah, it's just 12 laps he's done. He looks like he's done his stints very evenly. Tom Parker's actually after being in the pits as well. He's on his way out. He's coming out in 8th position. And he got himself a bit of clear air himself now. He's also gone on to the prime tyres. So as I said, we'll have to keep an eye on him and see how his battle with both Ryan Walker but also with Gatewood and Tapper turns out now that he's on to his final stint of the race. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if anything Hardwick can do once he puts on those red marked option tyres, and how much longer is he going to wait. I mean, he really needs to get in as soon as he can to try and maximise the grip and whatever else he can plug out those tyres. You imagine it can't be long, because if Ranieri's done about 10 laps or so, as no, he doesn't come in this time, but Ranieri did nearly about 10 laps on the tyres that time. So you're getting to the point of nearly 10 laps to go. You know you can push them for as long as you can. So I imagine Hardwick's going to be in a lap or two.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch for the next lap round to see what the time difference is between these two drivers. Obviously, the tyres are significantly warmer. The fuel load is much less on Oscar Hardwick's car. We'll have to see what Ranieri can do on fresh tyres, but on a fuller fuel load to see how close he can get to him. So Hardwick is pushing on. He needs to try and build some sort of gap if he can whatsoever. Swakas, he is in third place still. And on the options, he's yet to pit. Walker will have to pit. Needs to make another pit stop. Yet Gatewood also, and so does Tapper. Schroten is in 7th place, and Parker is where's Parker come out? Sorry, he's come out in 8th. Yeah, he's come out in 8th position.
Yeah, I was actually in a race of little attrition. We only started with 21 cars in the end, but Tommy Koivunen has retired off screen about on lap 16 with an accident. Looking at his car, he's got -1 rear wheel even. So we've only actually had 3 retirements from the race so far. Everyone's taken advantage of the rather wide track and the open road that they have to actually recover from any little spins or little knocks that we've seen them take. But so far, that's how it looks right now. We've only got 18 cars left in the race. So at least we're not looking at some situations like we had this season where everyone who finishes gets a point. So, but everyone's gearing themselves up for this final run to the flag now. With 11 laps left. Hardwick comes across the line. He's done 1:39.0. Not a great lap from about half second off what he did last time. And Ranieri did a 38.7. So already Ranieri is more or less on pace with him. So
yeah, he's just gone quicker. That was an awesome end lap. I think Hardwick actually made a mistake. He went slightly wider than he really would have liked to have done through Vale, and it allowed Ranieri to close that gap. So it's 38.7 he's done to a 39.0. So the previous lap it was a 38.5 for Hardwick, and Sukas is in pit lane now. So he's pitted for Innovision. Gatewood is in pit lane now also. Schroten is also pitted. So Parker is coming. He's going to be pit straight now, coming up towards turn 1. Gatewood sits in his box, and Schroten is in. Gatewood is away. It's where Sukas. Sukas has come out 3.1 seconds in front of his teammate. And Tapper, he is currently in 4th, but we will need to stop yet. Walker, he also needs to stop, is in 3rd. And the race leader, Oscar Hardwick, he needs to require his pit stop. And I think he will have 9 laps on the option compound tyre to get to the end of the race by the looks of it.
yeah, if he stops. I mean, how do we know there's not enough fuel in that car for him to get to the finish? I suppose we'll know in the next few laps, and actually as we see Hardwick coming in there now. But
there you go. There's your answer.
Yeah, I know it would have been an interesting curveball for someone to actually try and one-stop it.
Yeah, and obviously he would have made up a few tenths there as well, because obviously it's a shorter run into pit lane. So he's coming in now. Oh, he's just had to swerve out the way of a driver there. Which driver was that?
Connor Keane.
Yeah, he's the new driver. So Giuseppe Ranieri goes back into the race lead as Hardwick drops off the jacks. He's waiting, and away he goes now. Oh, slightly tardy getaway, but he's away. And out he comes behind
Bulgan.
Martin Bulgan there. Yep, indeed. And the gap has pretty much stayed at 10 seconds between Ranieri and Hardwick. So 10 seconds to make up in 9 laps. He's on the faster tyre. The Canada CSG driver closed down Giuseppe Ranieri. 9 laps, 10 seconds, game on.
Well, it's the same problem again for Hardwick, that he's come back out into traffic. Now, Keane's gotten himself out of the way, and Bulgan will no doubt get himself out of the way pretty promptly. But again, it's the same kind of problem that Hardwick faced last time, was that he can't end up coming out in cars, and even if people are lapped and get themselves out of the way, it is that slight distraction that takes that little bit of a time, a little bit of the edge off you. So it's not what Hardwick needed. I don't think anything seems to have really worked, as he runs very wide there at Cops. Obviously his tyres aren't fully up to temp yet. Nothing really seems to have worked for him there today, but so we're waiting on Tapper and Ryan now, currently 3rd and 4th. See when these two are going to make their pit stops next, and you'd imagine they're going to need to make them soon enough now to try and maximise what they have against Sukas, Parker and Gatewood. The longer they stay out here, the longer it's even Ryan Walker.
Yeah, he just ran wide now, but the problem he's got is Sukas is around about 16 seconds It's a fairly short pit lane and how fast these guys get in and
I'd say
out
it's
of it as
14 now
well.
by the looks of it now as well. I think it's a gap is closing down the longer he stays
Yeah.
out. I mean, this is always the problem when
Walker,
you do go out. And he's staying on.
this is wrong. Walker needs to get in because Sukas is going to really threaten him.
Yeah, this goes back to is Ryan Walker filled heavier than what he looks? I mean, would you be realistically stopping with, what is it, 8 laps left to go? I wouldn't, but
40.3. His previous few laps have been 39.5, 39.3, 39.8, 39.8, and then that mistake cost him 40.3. You know, he may pit again. If not, he has got 8.6 seconds back to Tapper, so he's covered from here, and Sukas is 14. So there is a very real chance he won't stop again, and Tapper may not even stop again also.
I hope so. I'd love just to see someone actually do some different strategies rather than bucking the trend. That's what we want to see sometimes.
5.8 between Tapper and Sukas, and obviously Sukas is on the prime compound now as well. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if those guys. And now that will help CSG because Sukas and Parker will fall back a little bit. Schroeten's not be able to make much of a threat on Parker. He's 14 seconds behind Parker and on the same compound tyre. So the only man out in the front at the moment that is on option tyres is Oscar Harwick, second place man. Oscar Harwick's on option tyres, and he's the only man I can see currently. Oh no, the other person in the top 10 is Mark Wicks. He is also on option tyres. So 2 men in the top 10 are on option tyres currently.
Yeah, obviously Mark's been on them for quite a while longer as well. He had that early stop, that second early stop around lap 14 and lap 15. So he may struggle to make to the end of the race on that set of tyres.
Yeah, I think he will, and that's a great lap from Oscar Harwick there. Oscar Harwick just pretty much matched Sheppy Ranieri's fastest lap of the race. So there's the statement if you ever wanted one. So Oscar Harwick is on it at the moment.
Our cameraman was just saying to us that he doesn't think Ryan was going to pit, and I was just about to say I'd nearly put money. Well, if I had any money, I'd probably start putting it on Ryan or Tapper pitting, because right now there's very little gain to be pitting now and barely getting a chance to get your tyres up to temperature. I think these two will possibly have done a bit of a trick on the guys chasing them, and if that's the case, their pace on the primes has been pretty impressive, given the fact if they are actually running with about twice the amount of fuel that, let's say, Oscar Harwick would have been running with during this time.
Tapper probably even more so than Walker. Tapper's actually running about 0.4 laps faster than what Walker is on the same tyres. This has been an awesome job from Tapper at the moment. Dewey Tapper, he's the man that is he's in 4th place, but running quicker than what Walker is. There's a 10-second gap between them. I think that's probably just him acclimatising himself with the softs at the start of the race. But nevertheless, 0.4 lap quicker than what Tapper's been running than Walker. And Tapper's really introduced himself onto the GPVWC scene very, very well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long he spends in Formula Challenge. Obviously, they've got 2 drivers for as Ryan Walker goes past the pit yet again. But you're kind of looking at it in a situation whereby they've got Verneson, they've got Rusu, but Tapper's, Rusu's, Verneson's top finish was, I think it was a podium back in Monaco, was it? But here's Tapper coming out first race, could be looking at maybe 4th position. You kind of wonder whether Mike Pittman will be looking to accelerate Tapper into the Supercup team to aid the team in the championship as the Constructors' Championship over the second half of this season.
Well, I think he'd have to take it into consideration because this effort that Tapper's putting in at the moment and what he's doing on these tyres is mighty impressive. Granted, Sukas is getting closer to him, but we are also getting closer to the end of the race. So, 3.3 seconds splits them, and Tapper currently is fending off probably a fast-charging double attack from both Innovation cars, Sukas and Parker. Gatewood's fallen off to 8.6 seconds. 6 seconds further back is Roy Schroeten in the second CSG car. Mark Wicks is 34 seconds behind, so that gap between 8th and 9th has grown now. Wixie is in 9th position, with Calvé Hermse, he is in 10th. And Sindre Grimseth is trying to close him down. It's 10 seconds between the pair of them at the moment. But yeah, it's a good job from Walker and Tapper currently. But the man out in front is Giuseppe Ranieri, and he's on a good lap at the moment as well. He's what's that? He's just done a 1:38.0. And what's Oscar Harwick going to do? A 38.0 to a 37.8. So only 2/10 of difference. And Oscar Harwick's on the quicker compound tyre, really. But he's not got back into those 36s yet that he really needed. And I need to correct myself from earlier on as well. He did 39. Of course, the fastest lap was a 36. I apologise for that. I got the wrong number there, but it's 36. So he's not really dialed into those tyres just yet. But as we get closer to the end of this race, that time will start to come down.
Yeah, well, it is a matter of, it's going to be too little too late for him. And that's probably the biggest problem, is that the 8 seconds Rainieri can have a chance to go. It's that Tapper has actually had to pit. See him in pit lane now and coming out on the red. I think that's a strategic error. I mean, 5 laps, you're not going to get a lot done on 5 laps. I may be proven wrong. I hope for entertainment value I am, but he's going to come out behind Patrick Gatewood. He possibly, if he can get those tyres up to temperature pretty quick, he could grab Gatewood, but at one point we were looking at him challenging Parker, and he's going to be nearly, to wait till he comes around through the sectors. Gatewood spins just in front of Tapper. There's that position, nice and handy. Oh, such a shame for Gatewood. He's having such a good race, and wonder if he's got a little bit of damage. He would have touched the wall there with his front wing, and he's just trying to get the car turned back around. He's lost 7th position even to Roy Schreiten now. So 8 for Patrick Gatewood. He's having such a good race, and it's great to see Gatewood have such a good race, and even having a non-damaged race. I think I picked on the poor guy a few times early on in the season. He seemed to go backwards, and he later relayed to us that usually it's because of damage was the reason he had to go backwards in a race after strong qualifying, and something I know all too well about at Supercup level. But unfortunately, driving error there, 8th position for him.
Still, nevertheless, do a Tapper. It's a good job. I'm not too sure if that's a team call error on their half, or if he's decided as a driver to go and take those new tyres. But it's still a fair effort for Tapper on his first outing. Superb effort, in fact. We really got to believe. He only jumps into the car before qualifying, so a great job from Tapper. Parker and Sukas, now that's aided them. They're back up into 4th and 5th. Obviously, with Gatewood's spin, Schroten goes up a position, so that's a few more points for Schroten. That will help CSG once again. Ryan Walker, he's not pitting. He's got 12.6 seconds over Sukas as well. 20 seconds behind Ranieri. Behind Hardwick. 28 seconds behind Ranieri. So in terms of championship, it's not helping, but it's going to be another podium, and he's going to rack up a few more points currently.
Best of a bad situation, but if I was Ryan, when you look at what Tapper's done today, and if Tapper gets more drives and gets more practice time, they're the kind of people someone like Ryan Walker has to kind of be wary of. Guys who'll come into the league, even Sukas here. You've got guys who are joining the series mid-season, have awesome pace, and they're the kind of guys who could help define the championship, because they're the kind of guys who might take points off someone like Ryan Walker, who is a steady, if not outright alien pace driver. So, there's some warning signs here for Ryan that he's going to have to try and find some extra time somewhere to try and haul himself back up onto the back of Rainieri and Harvey to protect themselves from the likes of Sukas or a Parker or a Tapper who are going to come along and potentially take points away from him.
Yep, absolutely. And a guy like Sukas, who has come into Innovation, we've got to believe that he's going to be here to stay as well. Even Tom Parker, when he drives Innovation, does a great job. Scott Bennett will obviously be back in that second Innovation fairly soon. We've lost Pavel Loknovsky due to work commitments for the rest of the season. That's why Sukas has been drafted in, we believe. So that could be game on there for Innovation, and they'll certainly enjoy having a guy like Sukas in the team. He's doing a great job. And Parker has done a superb job himself, and to be currently sitting in fifth position.
Yeah, obviously he looks to be enjoying himself a little bit more since he's dropped down from Super League and tried to find himself again after what was a difficult start to the year for him. It's always good to see when someone can actually get a chance to rebound and rebuild themselves back up after a tough start to a year. It's always important to get those kind of results in and try and rebuild back up your confidence even on a racetrack. It's something I have to sort out myself at some point, I think.
I think you need to sort out your finger first, but that broken finger is a bit of a killer.
A little bit. At least I can turn a steering wheel now that the cast is off. That's one thing for sure. But I think it's only a matter of trying to rebuild the strength back up in it and try not to hit it off anything, which is a little bit harder, especially with a floppy paddle gearbox. Although at least I can actually drive an actual car. Try going 2 weeks without driving. It's enough to give you cabin fever.
I think these guys will probably get the same thing even in sim racing. But Ranieri's the man at the moment. 7.2 seconds the gap. Oh, no, that gap's starting to come down now as well, because that last lap was a 38.0 and a 37.8. Oh no, it hasn't actually. So I think it's just a bad sector 1 there for Ranieri. I think Ranieri's a bit of an ordinary sector 1, so it's starting to close a little bit. But Hardwick, like you said, I think it's just going to be too little too late, unfortunately, for him at the moment, because he's closed a few tenths, but it's not enough. And these guys have been, once again, though, class the field, it has to be said. These drivers are really showing what these Supercup cars can do. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, that's the thing, is that these guys will probably walk into a Super League team and do pretty damn well as well at the same time. And it's fantastic. See, I know we probably haven't had the close out wheel-to-wheel battle we'd really like to see between Ranieri and Hardwick, but it still is a joy to watch them attack this track and take every ounce of tarmac and then some to get the most out of it. Just looking back there, Ryan, we might have to keep an eye on him. He's got a very poor last lap. It's a 42.0. Now, whether he made a mistake that lap or his tyres are really starting to cry enough, but Sukas is closing in on him. Is about, 8 seconds? Although Sukas will have his own stuff to worry about with Tom Parker, who seems to be closing in, although Tom taking a very wide line there at Cop's Corner. He'll have to mind himself about doing stuff like that. Just looking at Tapper, the kind of lap times he's doing, he's in the low 38s right now. I still think, he should have probably pitted earlier. It'll be interesting to see what Bob will come out with afterwards about it, but I would have tried to get him on those tyres a lot earlier to try and take advantage of the of those red mark tyres if the plan was always to do a two-stop.
I tell you what, you're not wrong about Parker as well, because Parker has really started to close on his teammate at the moment, so he's having a great run.
It's a 43.7 from Ryan that time.
He is really strong. Oh yeah, going through turn 1, it's a huge long lift. But we're on to the final lap, believe it or not. It's Giuseppe Ranieri, the man that is out in front at the moment. With 1 lap to go. Tapper, it's down to 9 seconds between him and Parker, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything. It's all about what can walk. Wow, it's 2.8 seconds. He's lost so much time.
This might just work for him, though. I think he might just get away with this one.
Yeah, he might. It's 2.9 seconds, and Sukas is definitely closing on him. But out in front, he's been the man all day. It's down to 5.8 seconds because Oscar Hardwick has been gunning it in these last few laps. And Ranieri looks like, he's kept the pace on. It's been low 38s for him. It's worked nicely for him. But Hardwick he started to close. He's done in high 37s, mid 37s. But nevertheless, Ranieri, he comes through Club Corner. And he will win in Britain. An awesome drive from Giuseppe Ranieri there. Oscar Hardwick comes across the line in 2nd place for CSG. What's going on with Ryan Walker?
He's going to lose it. He's going to lose it. No.
He is. Oh, look, he can't even get on the power out of Chapel. He's run wide. And Sukas is through. Sukas is up into 3rd place. Innovision go up into 3rd place. Now, where's Tom Parker? Ryan Walker's going to come back at him. If he starts squabbling with him, this is going to let Parker in. And, no,
tyre's gone.
His front left's gone. Parker's through. Innovision 3-4. Sukas is going to go
disaster.
He's going to come through in 3rd place. So Sukas for Innovision drives out the final corner. He's 3rd. Parker is 4th. Awesome drive from Innovision. Walker is 5th. Where's Schroten?
Well back.
Schroten is well back, so that's not going to... But Walker trundles over the line in 5th place. And
Tapper's had an issue.
Tapper's out. He's DNF'd, yeah.
Out of fuel, apparently, just after going to our cops. Shocking.
That's unbelievable. What? After the praise.
How do you pit and not get fuel?
I'm not sure. 5 to go as well. That's crazy. But Gatewood's across the line. Vodbull are going to be under a lot of pressure, I would have thought, from that now as well. So... it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but Schroten, he came across in 6th. Gatewood in 7th place, and Mark Wicks, he's also now finished, and he's coming across the line now, in fact, and he will finish in 8th place.
Tapper still will be classified ninth because we had a good few people who got lapped actually up to ninth position, actually were lapped. So he did lose about 3 positions out of it, but he still gets points. So, but Ryan's already left. I think I can't imagine what kind of mood Ryan Walker's in. I'm not going to sit here and chastise him for it because I said that probably would have been a kind of strategy I would have gone. But his lead is now down to 8 points. That error, well, I'm not going to say error, that tyre giving up on him, I suppose, will be the way to do it. I admire the move that he made. I mean, it was something different, and I think if he is going to try and outdo Rainier and Hardwick, if that's the kind of moves he's going to have to make, and it was a gutsy call, it didn't work out for him, but...
Well, yeah, it's not worked out for him. It's going to really start hampering his championship at the moment. But Ryan Walker, he ended up in 5th place. Sukas for Innovision and Parker for Innovision finished in 3rd and 4th. But grande for Ranieri, because he has finished once again as the race winner. That's a double now. It's Turkey and Great Britain, and Harwick in 2nd. So that 2nd place that Harwick currently has is starting to get eaten into by Ranieri, and he will start to close the gap also. And with this, Ranieri may even jump Loknovsky, or at least close to it. But we'll take a short moment here and see if we can get some drivers in for interviews.
Yeah, that's big ramifications, as we said, for the championship. 8 points is now going to be the gap, and as we said, we're in round 10, and we've got about... what is it again? About 8 left, if my maths are correct. It's been a while since I've actually had to look at that calendar. We're heading into the back end of the season, and we talked about at the start of the race how Ryan had benefited quite a bit from when Oscar Hardwick had retired in Monaco, and that had his championship challenge no end. But going forward, there's a couple of lost points that Hardwick will gladly take them, and even Rainieri, I know it's an outside shot at best of him coming in championship play. But we'll be heading on to Monza. I have great memories of Monza, especially last year in the Supercup. But that'll be a race that could be an equaliser for Ryan Walker. I know I found it last year that because of the fact that you've only got a couple of chicanes and mainly long straights, that you can make up some extra time. The field could be a bit closer, and the ability to draft yourself along with other people might provide an opportunity for a more level playing field for Ryan to take advantage of when it comes to the championship.
Yeah, you've got to wonder why Walker we'll hopefully get him in just a moment's time, why Walker has actually opted for that, and for that strategy. The nature of being the championship leader, you would believe, will try to be the quickest, the most conventional way. It's when you're behind you really want to make those wild and intriguing decisions to get further up the field, but it's not worked out here today. But we've got a whole raft of drivers by the looks of it have just joined us. That's incredible, in fact. Okay, we've got quite a few drivers in here. So firstly, I think we'll start off with Oscar Hardwick.
Hello.
2nd place man. Oscar, how are you doing? I mean, that was a great race. Unfortunate about the start to lose a position, but that final stint, you were really, really on it and closing down Giuseppe, but just not enough.
No, he did have the race pace on me again today. I think he's sort of at the same place he was at Turkey, and I've gained some time, obviously, because last time I was 13 seconds back, and this time it was 5 and a bit, and that's really positive. I mean, and particularly with Ryan's issue, it's even more positive in terms of points. So, fairly happy, really happy to keep the pole run going as well. And like you say, shame about the start, but 2nd position I'll take, and with Roy coming in 6th position as well, that was absolutely fantastic for the team.
Yeah, obviously you've got to be we're coming in 2nd place and having that great pole run, but after seeing what happened with Ryan going backwards there on the final lap, that must have given you a lot of encouragement going forwards. And now that obviously the championship lead has decreased even more.
Yeah, it's really, really good to see, and obviously the closer you get in terms of points, the more realistic it becomes for you to be going for the championship. And whilst I'm not going to yet say that I'm comfortable and thinking I'll win it, because that's certainly not the case, there's time yet for me to catch up and move away. And I think Giuseppe has, missed more rounds than me and had more results where he was finishing further back as well. So he's not a threat just yet, which is nice. So it doesn't matter that he took the win today. keep my fingers crossed, keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully I can bring home the championship.
Well, that was an awesome drive, and obviously done a great job there. Unfortunately, you've just been left by Phil Cullen, my co-commentator, but thank you to Phil for his return and a great job this evening. I'll move on now. David Junt, we've got here, who's the team owner of the race winner Giuseppe Ranieri. So, David, you must be absolutely thrilled with what Giuseppe's done there.
Yeah, indeed. I've had some chatting with him, of course, before the race, and we was exchanging some thoughts on it, setup-wise, track-wise. And the first, it was already the speaking about wear of tires and the consistency of the car driving at strong pace. And I've gave him another tip, and I think it worked quite well with that he had, but it's what can I say? I mean, just the second win now, and I'm quite thrilled that this is going the right way right now.
Well, your driver is absolutely on it. You know, that's 2 wins now, and you must have been very, very scared there at the start if he'd actually make it through turn 1 side by side with Oscar, but he got through it and ran away with it, and I guess you were on the edge of your seat for the entire race.
Yes, I was. As team owner, it's quite a bit hard time watching. That's what happened at Monaco, I guess, where it went well a different way. But I held my breath at turn 1, and then when he was pulling away, I was just hoping for no problems. And Giuseppe did let's say just an awesome job, a really nice pace, no mistakes, just using his skill, and I was really happy to see him cross line first place again, and just can look forward to the next few races after that. And that, I mean, we have a nice teammate. Giuseppe has a nice teammate in the form of Martin Bulkin, and he finished in the top 12 again, and it's really nice to see that both of them can score like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, David, you know, thank you very much for joining us, because that's been fantastic to hear from you. And congratulations to your team and your driver, Giuseppe Ranieri. And going forwards, obviously, the next race is at Monza, so he'll want to win that probably more than anywhere, being his home race.
I guess so. I guess really. We'll see, but I would guess he would be really pumped to have a win at Monza, where the Italian wants to win this race, and we'll see how this will work out. And thanks.
Okay, well, thank you very much there, David. We'll move on now, and we are joined by fourth place man, Tom Parker. So, Tom, that was a brilliant drive for myself, and in fact, both Innovision cars had a cracking run towards the end there, and probably boosted the team's championship no end as well. So, how'd that race go for you?
I think I could have got a podium, but that's no problem. I think my qualifying was a bit hampered, just let's say. But yeah, I had a good start, but then Grimseth got on the way. So Grimseth had a really, really bad start, so I couldn't make the best of the start. But I had a good getaway anyway, and then Royce from nowhere came round the outside, so I was like, oh, brilliant, Royce there. So I had to do some overtaking, which was fun. It was nice to go some overtaking, but from there on, it was just pushing, because I didn't know what Tapper was doing, I didn't know what Gatewood was doing. Obviously, Mika was ahead. Didn't realise Ryan was on the 1 stop, so surprised to beat him. But yeah, it's good for the team in the championship. I know we probably gained about 4 points on CSG, but I don't think that's going to matter anymore. But we gained a lot on everyone behind us. So yeah, good race for Innovision, really, very, very good.
Yeah, in terms of your race yourself and the nature of how you've done today, being quite close to your new teammate in Sukas, you must take a lot of confidence from that.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it's nice to actually be on the pace now. Still need to find those few couple of attempts to be on the pace of maybe Ryan, Oscar, and Giuseppe. But you know, I'm happy with 4th. I think it's probably the best I could have done today. But you know, we'll see. It's filled with confidence. I mean, not sure if Miko's actually racing from next round. I think it's just an emergency to replace Pavel and Scott. But we'll see. He's done a very good job today. I'm quite proud of him. Good lad.
Yeah, well, you both done a great job, and you've done Innovision proud, so well done to you, Tom, and we look forward to seeing you. Are you racing the next race in Monza?
Yep, I'm the permanent driver now for Innovision, so I
awesome.
should be
So,
here for the rest of the season.
We will see Parker going forward, so that's good to see Tom Parker back in the car full time. So thanks for that, Tom.
No
We'll
problem.
move on now to the man who must be the most unluckiest man to have that tyre blowout going through Stowe Corner on the very, very last lap. Ryan Walker, mate, that was a very bold move to try and go for a one-stop strategy there, and it just didn't quite pay off for you. Those last 2 laps were an absolute killer.
Yeah, that was very unlucky. It was. Me and David, my teammate, we were discussing strategy and whether it would be the right way to go with a 2-stop or take a risk and do a 1-stop and see how far we could get. And well, for me anyway, but it never paid off. I've just on the last lap headed for the final few corners, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's so. What was the thinking though behind going for the one-stop strategy? Obviously, being championship leader, I thought you may have gone for a more conventional 2-stop strategy. What was the feeling behind it? Did you believe that you could get those tyres to the end of the race?
Well, during testing, I done a race stunt on the options and the primes, and I found with the prime tyres I could just make it to the end. But for some reason in the race on the last lap, it never happened, and the left front tyre just went bang with a few corners to go.
It's very unlucky for you, and obviously you dropped down, and Hardwick has now closed. Obviously Ranieri winning, so he's going to close. And there's no Loknovsky, so in terms of that third place, Loknovsky is no longer going to be racing in Supercup. But just how worried though are you now of Hardwick and Ranieri closing down that championship lead that you have?
I'm not real worried, to be honest. I don't see the point of worrying because I know I've watched Oscar a few times and Giuseppe as well, and they can be really quick, and I know they're much quicker than me, so it's just a case of getting results and see where I end up finishing at the end of the season.
Do you still believe though in your heart of hearts that you can still gun and win this championship?
In all honesty, I can't really see myself winning the championship. I mean, yeah, I'm finishing on the podium, but really in my mind I need to start winning races, maybe 1 or 2 races to still have a chance. If that doesn't happen in the last few rounds of the season, then in my mind I don't stand a chance.
Well, unlucky there today, Ryan, but we look forward to seeing you at the next race at Monza.
Thank you.
So, all right, thank you very much for that. So we'll move on now. So let's see who we got now. So Roy Schroten. Roy, second driver for CSG. Roy, how was your race there today?
I had a great start. I managed to pass Tom. It was a fun fight, and then with Tepper, it was a good fight. So the first 5 laps were great, but then the rest of the race was just boring. I was alone all the time. I kept pushing, but it was hard because I had nothing else to do, no fights. But in the last few laps, I saw Tepper come in, but I hoped he was closer to me. But he had still a 4-second advantage at me. But then his fuel was empty, I think. So I managed to pass him, and I managed to finish 6th, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, good job obviously on finishing in 6th position there. How are you finding the car at the moment? Have you been able to make the improvements and find those extra few tenths, or do you feel there's still a little bit more work to go before you're into a comfortable position?
I'm trying my best, but this league, the Supercup, there's just so many fast drivers, and the gaps aren't really that big. But I'm about 3 tenths off to a podium maybe, but there are about 10 people who could get a podium at the race, so it's so close. So, but I will try, but I won't be there at the next 2 races, but after that we'll see.
Well, we look forward to seeing you back when you on your return there, Roy, and a great job on 6th position there today.
Thank you.
Okay, we move on to our final driver in the commentary box here, doing an interview for us, and that is Andreas Waters. Andreas, how was your race there today?
Thanks for having me. It was quite good actually. I'm obviously very happy to be back. You cannot believe how much I missed it. The first few laps were quite exciting. My adrenaline levels were really high at that moment. Just wonderful to be back. And it actually went quite good. I could stay consistent. I finished the race for starters. and I picked up a point, so I actually doubled my points in the championship. And I also have to say that the level of all the drivers really has come higher. They really are much better than before, because my first point was actually just a lot of luck. I screwed up that race quite badly myself, but because everyone crashed out, I could get a point, and now I could just now I had to fight for it actually. At the end of the race, I had a really good fight with Andres Pestovs, and luckily I was able to hold him back, but really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did a superb drive there today, and obviously getting those few points. In terms of going forwards, though, are you going to be are you racing for at Monza?
Yeah, I'm planning to be back for the rest of the season, so my break was just because I had to study for my exams, but I passed those now, and I plan to do the rest of the season normally. There might be emergencies, but normally it should all be good.
Well, excellent work today, and congratulations on passing your exams there also.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, well that just about wraps up all the interviews that we've had there today. It's been an incredible British Grand Prix. We're hoping to try and get Giuseppe Ranieri just a moment, so we'll just give it a moment, because we may be able to get the race winner. Okay, so we should be rejoined now by Giuseppe.
Hi, Nick.
Giuseppe, that was an awesome race today. How was that for you?
Yes, I am very happy.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
Great start.
Yes, I am very happy because I wanted to win this race. I know that I was very fast, but I know that Oscar was fast too. After this 2 or 3 race, I want to start very well like Oscar, and at the end today I did a very good start, and I think that I won the race on the start because I did my pace, so I am very happy. Sorry for my English, but I am not very good.
That's absolutely fine. I know your English isn't so great, but you're doing a good job of it at the moment. All right, well let's pause then. And do you believe that you can win your home race at Monza?
Well, no, because I am not very fast in Monza. I never won in Monza, so I hope to win, but I don't know if I can win. Oscar is very fast, and it's not easy win against him. So it's not easy. It's not easy. Nick. Finally, today maybe I solved my problem with tires, because if you remember on last race, I ever had problems with the tires, and today I am very happy about. I did the same strategy of Oscar.
Yeah, well you did a great job today, and look forward to seeing you at Monza.
Yes, I do very well in Monza, and I don't know what now about the championship because I have not race in race. I got retirement on. I think that out my.
Okay, unfortunately, we just lost Giuseppe there. Sounds like his microphone was cutting out a little bit, unfortunately. But nevertheless, we heard from him, the man himself. He said, sorry about his English, but I think he did a very good job there. I think you'd all agree. Nevertheless, we will move on now. It's a 2-week gap, and the next race is the Italian Grand Prix around the infamous Monza, the beautiful Monza circuit on July the 17th. So, for myself, Nick Rowland, and Phil Cullen, who's now disappeared, unfortunately, but also SimRace.tv and our cameraman, Dave Cosmith, we will see you in 2 weeks' time.